just a second.
Roy and I.
One to one, okay.
We good? Okay. Obviously, we're very excited about the concept and vision for the Dudy Noble Master Plan. You know, one of the things we talked about early on in this process, even back to our listening sessions last fall, was Mississippi State, this baseball program deserves to have the finest facility in the country. And I think, you know, John and I talk a lot about, you know, we're very fortunate the work done by the people who came before us. And before he and I were ever here, you know, Mississippi State people had a vision for a modern facility for college baseball, really before anybody else had come up with that concept. And that has produced the facility we have now. And it's hard to imagine it's been nearly 30 years with that facility. But it's time to kind of reset the bar a little bit and to take another step and give our players, our coaches, and most importantly our fans the kind of facility that befits this wonderful baseball program that we have. So really, it's exciting where we are. We have a long road ahead of us, and we got to get after, figure out some funding. You know, we got to raise some money, and we've got a lot of work to do on the design process. We're just kind of wrapping up the conceptual design. We got to keep going on schematic, and we have Michael Berner and Jamie Ware from Ware Berner Allen Architects, who are our lead local architects from Jackson, who are here with us today. We got a lot of work ahead of us with them and our friends from Populous and Janet Marie Smith, who's been really helpful as well. So, but that's exciting. It's you know, it's great to have a big goal that we can all shoot for, and as you know, I think this university has shown. And this athletic department has shown, this building we're standing here right now in the Steel Complex, the Davis Wade Stadium work that's being completed right now. You know, to get somewhere, you got to have a plan on where you want to go. And right now, I think we have a really good concept and a really good handle on where it is we want to go. So, before I take any questions, I'm going to let Coach Cohen come up and say a few words, and then either one of us will be available to take any questions y'all have.
Well, I'm just going to reflect what Scott said. We're just privileged to be part of such a great tradition at Mississippi State, and I think in doing something new, what you're really doing is honoring the tradition. As Scott mentioned, in 1986, Mississippi State set the bar with our new facility here, and now it's almost 30 years later, as you mentioned, and I think we all feel like it's time. I think Scott has spent a tremendous amount of time, along with our architects, preparing a vision, and that's what it is right now, is a vision for the future of our program, and it's exciting. Gosh, in the last 30 minutes, I've talked to recruits, I've talked to staff, I've talked to fans all over the country, I've talked to guys that I've played with. There's a great deal of excitement, but like Scott said, we have a long way to go, and we know we're going to get there, but we have a lot of work in front of us, and you know, that's a fun part of it too, because the fundraising process allows you to reconnect and with a lot of folks who have a lot of stake in our program. And I say this a lot, and I don't say it in a small way. Mississippi State is a family, and Mississippi State baseball is a family. And you know, these are the moments when family comes together and does something special. And I feel like this is something really special. So I'll hand it back to Scott, and thank you for being here.
Hang your hand up here. We may, John or I, me, either one, answering questions you guys might have.
Scott, I know you're not going to set a time limit or anything. Is there an ideal that you would like to have at this point?
Yeah, I'm not going to box us in on a time frame. I want it to be done by next year, but you know, that's not feasible. But you know, we want to be as aggressive as we can on the fundraising side. I know our Bulldog Club team who's done a tremendous job the last few years of helping us secure gifts to make some things reality. They're going to be focused. They're going to get after it. I know this guy right here is going to be a tremendous asset. John's going to, you know, he can sell this program is better than anybody because he played here. He's led the thing the last few years, and he's got a great passion for it. And then, you know, because of the great job our design team did, I really think the plan sells itself. And so that's the focus. How do we to get out there and get the commitments we need from a financial standpoint, but also, you know, we got to start putting some more specifics into this plan and start getting it further along, so that when we do get to the point where, hey, we've raised the money we need to raise, we have a funding model that works, we're ready to go at that point and get after it.
Obviously, with it being in the same spot, there's going to be some thoughts of it that's going to be done in time for the next season. In the preliminary talks of it, have you come across any problems there, any worries about?
Yeah, I'm not really worried about that. It's a natural question, and it's the few people who I had a chance to show this to during the design process. That was one of the first questions, and right now it's an unknowable. You know, until we get further down the road and we have a chance to sit down with the baseball staff, the construction team, the design team, and figure out the best way to attack it, whether it's to do it in phases between off seasons, or play through construction, whatever it is we need to do, we'll figure that out. That's a short-term issue, and we've got a long-term vision for what we want this to be.
So when you look at the new spaces in the left field line, what was kind of thought about those processes when you decided to go that route specifically?
First thought was we better not mess this up. And you know, that's something that is really synonymous with Mississippi State and our baseball program, the left field lounge. And I said all along, we're always going to have a left field lounge. The key is how do we make sure that it's safe and it's as accessible to as many things as possible, and we take the steps we need to take to make sure it's there forever. You know, what we talked about is how do we take all the uniqueness and all the things that make the left field lounge so special, and make it permanent without losing that uniqueness. And so one of the things we're staying away from, we don't want cookie cutter. We don't want a bunch of concrete pads out there. We want each and every one of those 86 spots to be its own place, to be unique, to let whoever is paying for that spot to have some ownership from the standpoint of how it's designed, how it's customized, where they put the grill. Do they want chairback seats fixed on it, or they want just open platforms they can bring their own seats in? Do they want to hang lights, or do they want to fly a flag? I mean, we want all that stuff is what makes the current left field lounge really cool. What we want to do is we want to modernize it, but retain all those special things. So all of that was in the thought process. And the deeper we got into it, and I remember the first time Mike and Jamie and the guys showed us the idea of what they were thinking, it just kind of clicked, like, this would work. You know, I think this would keep what makes it special. It would alleviate any concerns about safety. The other piece of it is, I think it makes it accessible to even more people. You know, right now, that area out there is not handicap accessible. The new facility is going to be handicap accessible all the way through the outfield. You're going to be able to take a 360-degree walk around that ballpark and have a view of the field the entire time, be able to keep up with the action, even when you're walking through the left field lounge. It's something we don't currently have. I think baseball is such a sport where, you know, you go to a basketball or football game, you're going to get locked in your seat for 2 or 3 hours, and you're going to be in tune with the game. Baseball, people like to get up and wander around. They like to take the game in from different points. You guys don't get to, but the fans, I think, really enjoy that. I had the opportunity to go to several major league games this year, and you see people doing that all over the place, and the current facility really doesn't lend itself to that. You can walk around, but you really lose connection to the game when you're doing that in our current facility. And I think one of the things that most excites me about the new facility is you retain that connection to the game, and doing it as you're going through the left field lounge in the middle of you know, all the smoke and the barbecues and all the cooking out that's going on out there, and the unique look of that space is going to take it to another level of specialness. John, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, if you want to continue with the left field lounge, I was going to ask a different question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, the suites in the left field,
Right.
will those, because actually someone already asked me on Twitter, will those be, like, did you live there year round?
That's the intent, yeah.
Okay.
You know, those are going to, the university athletic department will maintain ownership, so it'll be a lease. It'll be very similar to what we have for Skybox at Davis Wade. You know, where there's a Bulldog Club gift associated with that. Very similar concept. Just we'll little bit more usage out of it. Instead of using it 7 days a year, you'll be able to use it 365 days a year, whether you live there all the time or whether you use it whenever you come up for the weekend and want to have a place to stay, and you wake up in the morning, you go out on your back patio and you're overlooking Dudy Noble Field. It's a pretty cool concept.
I guarantee audience for practice.
Yeah.
What else?
The decision for the total tear down, was that just because we talked to your people back in fall, they said there was just only so much you could do with the current stadium as it is and the tear down? Was that the toughest decision to make? To me, the initial entry into this, even though we wanted to be open, we want to look at all avenues, in the back of my mind, I thought we'll just end up renovating what we have. But as you said, the deeper we got into it, the more you looked at what our desires were versus what we had to deal with in the current facility as far as some challenges, it became more apparent if we're looking at this as a long-term deal that building a new grandstand made the most sense. If this is a 5-year deal and that's all we're worried about, renovating what we have probably makes the most sense. But if we're going to be here for the next few decades playing baseball on that site, this makes the most sense.
The release isn't specific on capacity, but, just any ideas on how many seats you could be adding with this?
I think we'll be able to continue to have record-breaking crowds. And I mentioned left field lounge being synonymous with Mississippi State baseball. Record-breaking crowds is the other thing that you think of when you think of a baseball program. And we're going to continue to be able to do that. Candidly, there wasn't a certain number that we were trying to hit. One of the things, even now we have 15,000 people show up at a ballgame. There's not 15,000 seats. A lot of those people are just, there's a lot of standing room. And currently there's a lot of standing room without a decent view of the field. What I think we're going to be able to continue to do is have those big crowds, those huge numbers. I think we're going to have more standing room views of the field that are comfortable for people. I mentioned the walkway all the way around the field, behind the concourse, underneath the overhang there. We're going to have a drink grill going all the way around, 360 degrees, for people to stand and take in the game, as I mentioned, from those different vantage points. I think that combined with the berm space, combined with, I actually think the lounge is going to be a more efficient use of space, the way it's being designed. I think all those things are going to allow us to keep having big crowds, but I think it's going to be crowds that have more access to stay engaged with the ballgame while they're there.
What about the grandstand? Is that going to be the same amount of?
I think we'll probably end up with more chairback seats. We have a little over 4,000 chairback seats now. I think we'll end up with more chairback seats. We lose bleacher seats, replace that with guard and standing room. We'll have more premium seats. Right now we have 18 skyboxes. The plan currently calls for about 50. Depending on demand we get, we could change that during the design process. We want to put a club level in there, maybe some low seats like we're putting in at Davis Wade Stadium. So we have a lot of other options that we're going to have to put people on.
Something that y'all both talked about too last fall, that with the SEC network coming on, with more games televised, that's being factored as well into what you're trying to build and how it's done, or how it looks, or how it presents itself in television.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where having some architects with keen eyes and the group from Populous who really understands ballpark construction and how camera placement inside the ballpark impacts that. I think it's going to be a good TV.
John, I was going to ask you, I know one of your concerns was having 3,000 or 4,000 people there, and it kind of looks empty-ish compared to 15,000, 16,000 person stadium. Do you know if they addressed that at all to your concerns or anything like that?
Yeah, I thought our architectural team and Scott, everyone involved really addressed that issue. Certainly, we've had some pretty large crowds. Maybe in the midweek, we've had some crowds that were bigger than anybody else in the whole league, and it can have an empty look to it. And I think that's been addressed with this, and I think there's so much creativity that have gone into it, at least the conceptual. And I'm sure there'll be some slight changes, but there are things that exist. There are some basic things that exist in this conceptual thing that just doesn't exist in college baseball, and that's what's really exciting to me. Because some of the features only exist in big league ballparks. I haven't been to every college baseball stadium in the country, but I can assure you I've been to a lot of them. and I've never seen a